Hi everyone, and welcome to your somatic practice today. My name is Nicole and I'm going to take you through the practice. So we'll start off with some simple nervous system regulation, bringing ourselves into our bodies, and then we'll move into an internal somatic self-compassion exercise. So today's practice will be done in a chair. If you have a chair with some back support and even some head support, even better. But wherever you find yourself, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to stabilize and come into our space. So we're going to do that by feeling the ground. And so let's start with our feet. And I just want you to gently rock your feet back and forth. And play around with going about 5% slower than you typically would go. And when we slow down, we get lots of data-rich information. We notice how we move. We can choose a new way of doing things. And these movements can actually become easier over time, these simple movements. And if you are ever experiencing a lot of charge, whether that's anxiety or just a bit of overwhelm, rocking the feet is an excellent practice to use in those moments. Okay, and let's let that settle. Wiggle around the toes, almost as if you're massaging the ground. And then bring your attention to your seat, your bum, and just notice the surface that it's on and see if you can even imagine the surface that it's on as if you are seeing it in your mind. And notice, is there more pressure on the left or the right? No right answer there, we're just noticing. And notice the breath. What's the breath doing? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Just noticing without changing it. Bring awareness. Then noticing the shoulders. Maybe we want to roll them a little bit. And again, try slowing it down. See what that's like. And then just noticing the room you're in. And see as you look around if you can find one thing that catches your eye. So I'm looking at a painting of a waterfall. And as I look at that, I notice a bit of a breath coming in. You could even be looking at just a plain white wall. Just notice what happens inside when your eye gets caught on something pleasant. And then coming back to the center, we're going to do a little bit of eye work. So choosing if you want to go left or right, follow your impulse, but I'm going to guide this as beginning on the left. So drag your eyes over to the left. You're looking right out the corner of the left eye, both eyes really. And then you should feel a little stretch here, but no pain. And then try using your eyes to drag your head to the left. And then just hold it there. And then move your eyes so they're looking directly in front of you and see if you can hold that. So I'm trying to look at the camera as my head comes back to a neutral position. And just let that settle. Okay, let's do that one more time. So eyes to the left and dragging the head to the left with the eyes. Looking behind us. We're going to hold that. And then eyes come back to the center. See if you can fixate on a center point in front of you as you bring your head back into a neutral position. Okay, and then we're going to go the other way. So looking to the right and then dragging the head to the right with the eyes leading the way. Then hold that. And then eyes come back to the center. See if you can fixate on a center point as you drag your head back to center. And let's do that again. Eyes to the right and dragging the head to the right. And hold. And eyes come back to the center. And just relax. Good. Then we're going to bring in a little bit of tapping. So as you do this, try to let go of any story or narrative or saying in your head, and just focus on the feeling. So we're going to start tapping here on the knife edge of the hand. It doesn't matter which one, and just focusing on the feeling. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. And if you don't like tapping, you can just hold pressure here and breathe. And then moving to above the eyebrows, just using the pads of your fingers to do this. Just noticing how that feels. And then moving to the cheekbones. And then moving to just below the nose. And then just below the mouth on the chin. And the collarbones. I'm just going to do the one side so I'm not making a lot of noise on my mic. But this can kind of feel like drumming, and this is actually my favorite. Just noticing what that feels like. Just noticing the sensation. And then coming to the rib cage. It can just be anywhere on the rib cage, the lower rib cage. And I just noticed a little bit of air moving in a burp. So if your digestive system is relaxing and releasing air, it's a good thing. And then just let that relax. We just pause in between to really absorb what just happened. So notice any sensations in the body. And what those feel like. Notice if you can feel your feet. Notice if you can feel your bum. Now we're going to move into small circles. And as you're doing this, notice where you experience a bit of tightness. So I've got a little tightness right here. So rather than pushing into the tightness, actually back off and just make this really easy and gentle on the body. So we're moving where it's comfortable today, bringing in some gentleness and some kindness. Here's another little burp. And let's see if we can slow this down about 5%. And let's go the other way. And then notice if there's any spots as you're doing this, maybe a deep breath comes in. If that happens, maybe play around with that area. You can kind of feather your movement into that area. And notice what happens with the nervous system and the breathing. Okay. Okay, and let's bring that into a neutral position. And again, just take a moment to notice the body, notice the feet, notice the bum, notice the shoulders, notice the jaw. And now I want you to bring up a situation that is a little unpleasant. So about a 3 out of 10, nothing too crazy. And as you bring that situation to mind, just the headline, notice what happens in the body and notice if there's any sensations that show up. So I can notice a little bit of a tightness in my chest as I think about this situation. And so just, you can take a hand and just gently place it on that area if you'd like. And you can just say hello to that sensation. Hello, sensation. And then I want you to imagine creating space around that sensation. So rather than constricting around it, see if you can give it a little space in the body. So this is just something you're imagining. And then as you create space, just imagine that there is someone, somewhere in the universe that is having a very similar situation to you, is maybe struggling with the same thing you are, maybe feeling the same thing. And maybe there's more than one, maybe there's many, and just notice what it feels like to know you're not alone and your struggle is understood. And then we're going to bring some loving kindness to that area. So you can take a hand and place it on the chest or where the sensation is. Just taking one hand and noticing what that feels like. So notice the warmth of the hand. And notice if anything happens inside as you do this. Maybe notice, bring attention to your feet, bring attention to your sit bones, your belly, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. And then bring a second hand to the chest and notice what that feels like. Notice what kind of pressure your body's asking for. And notice what feels good. And then just imagine that maybe a friend of yours is experiencing the situation that you are. And what words of comfort might you offer a friend in this situation? Maybe it's, you're doing okay, you're gonna be okay, I'm here with you. And maybe take a hand and just place it on the shoulder, like maybe a friend might. And really feel the warmth of that hand, the pressure of the hand. We'll just stay with that for a moment. Noticing your feet, support of your feet. Noticing what's supporting your sit bones. And if you have that backrest, leaning into that and noticing the support of your back. And then you can go ahead and just let that rest. Give your toes and your fingers a little wiggle. Move the wrists. And you can open the eyes. And notice the area around you. And notice if it looks a little different than before. Maybe it looks the same, but notice where you are. Maybe notice something that was pleasant in the room. And I hope this practice was helpful for you today. You can go ahead and leave me a comment, tell me about your experience, and subscribe. And if you'd like to work one-on-one, you can check out the links in the caption. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you later.